and I thought about it, for myself, like if I was still out there, how I would think of it, and when I started reading on how they were going to do it in Philadelphia, and like the questions I started thinking to myself, like, well, are they going to have like easy access for people to get right into treatment? So when they come in, they get high, because that's when you're at your most vulnerable, right? When you get well. So like if I'm well, are they going to have people that know how to do it, like interventionists and people in recovery? Are they going to be there to be able to talk to the addict and say, hey, like, start talking to them and try and open them up to maybe like want to go into treatment? Like, okay, are you going to have those things? And I didn't read anything to where they said they were going to have that. And then when they did it, and then I looked at the area they did it in, and to me, it was like, are you serious? Like South Philly. Like, look, when I was using, and I know addicts, we all think alike. Like, when I was using, like, I would not go all the way to South Philadelphia to go shoot dope when I can do it right there on Allegheny Avenue.
Right.
So what? So
and
why?
It's acceptable to do it on Allegheny Avenue.
So then you start thinking of the root. Like, so why are you actually doing it? Is it really for harm reduction? Is it a political thing? When you start looking at all these things, like, why are they actually doing it? And then you see they were going to open up like 2 days a week for a couple of hours each day. And then it's like, so really, like, why are you doing this? And it's not for me, I felt like it wasn't for a thing to say like, all right, let's help.
Trying to help.
Let's help.
Yeah.
Because because with harm reduction also comes with medical assisted treatment, which is, people on Suboxone and methadone. And you look at that and you start seeing, like, I know people that have been on methadone for 15 years.
You're just trading in your addiction for a different drug.
Exactly. And it's like, even, and I'm not against, and when it comes to the recovery community, I'm talking about the fellowships that, where people go to 12-step meetings, and that community, they kind of frown on MAT programs. They tell people they're not really clean or sober when they're on them. And like I said, like I love being a student, so I read all the literature and all of it, and when I correct people on it, and it's like that too. It's like, so what are we doing? Okay, because like I said, I definitely agree with MAT. There's a lot of people that are alive today because they're on Suboxone or methadone. And that's at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We want people to live. So with doing that, though, why are they staying on it for 5, 10, 15 years? And the reason of that being is like, and you go to these methadone clinics and you go, well, Suboxone is given by doctor, right? It's a prescription for people. Like, like you go to a Suboxone doctor and he's giving you a script and saying, hey, go seek mental health treatment somewhere. Like, why aren't you setting up a whole program where you have, and that's because he would have to take more money out of his pocket, less money he would make off writing a prescription, so you just say it like.
And you would think that a city like Philadelphia is just riddled with this. It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Top 3 worst.
Yeah. There was a whole Vice piece on it. There's been documentaries. You would think that we would have something in place instead of just people making a dollar at the bottom.
As you were saying previously about the $300,000 houses that are next door, the city is not focusing on the real problem, and it's crazy for me to say. I mean, I grew up in Fishtown. Fishtown is absolutely beautiful. I love Fishtown, but when you're having these $500,000-$600,000 houses, there people are funding money and people are moving there, and they're just, and it's little by little, they're just kind of moving this into, and it's becoming acceptable, and it shouldn't be acceptable. Our city should not allow people to suffer the way they are suffering. There's so many different options. And again, I don't know much about the politics behind it, and I don't know much about the funding. But if you really look in the heart of Kensington, there is a ton of factories that are not being used. My thought process is, why don't you throw some money into them and make affordable housing? Make housing within them that have potentially an outpatient clinic right in there that they can get their treatment, have their children. You know, why aren't these the things that are looking at? Would the city rather go down? Well, they don't go, but would you rather have our city known for having these encampments that these people are suffering, or simply put some money into some solutions, give them housing? You know, if they continue to use, but they still have functional housing, and then they have every single day within their building, there's some sort of treatment, eventually they're going to maybe talk to them, or they're eventually, you know, so you wonder, like, where their thought process is. Let's just build around them and pray that people keep buying and, you know, become accepted, that your form of transportation into the city is the L that you have to go and witness.
And what's even worse is, like, on top of those people getting pushed out, like all the people that would be on that block specifically, they got pushed further into the subways, or
right,
you know,
right.
and then property taxes go up, and then people who've been living there for decades and generations are forced to move.
And you know, when you think about it, what about the people that can't afford to move and that have to live in that environment, that have young children? Their children don't have playgrounds to play in, you know, so it's a whole other cycle, because then now they're growing up and thinking it's normal, it's acceptable. Even though maybe they don't have that behaviors, those addictive behaviors, they're now their norm is something that no child's norm should ever be, you know, and it's just, you just don't understand. And again, I don't fully understand politics and the funding and all of that, but you just wonder, like, where's our priorities, you know? And who knows? I don't have the answer to that. I don't know that any of us will have the answer to that.
No, but that's why it feels so good to be a part of, like, the solution of it, though. And that's like with us at SPARC. And there's a lot of other, you know, there's a lot of other, like, groups of people out there that are helping, you know, that go down there, help clean up, help feed, you know, help get the resources for people that are willing to get help, you know, and it's going to be an ongoing battle, you know, and it's, you look at it, and there's days where, you know, you feel defeated, and then there's days where, like, you feel great because you're able to help, you know, and, you know, taking it back to, like, the treatment, and you know, I think if a lot more people would do more research, you know, and you know, maybe, like, in our area in Philadelphia, maybe we can come up with better solutions, you know, with being out in California and seeing how treatment and recovery is out there, and being fortunate to be around some successful, like, really successful places. You know, I went through a place where, you know, they're out of 26 people that was in there at the time, you know, I know 16 of us celebrated a year clean, you know. That's
Congratulations.
you know, and that's, like, you know, and being able to be around the guy that built that model, you know, and him winding up mentoring me, and then moving into it's the largest sober living community in the Southern California area. And it's, you know, they got 9 houses, and the structure and the model that they have built, where their success is, you know, incredible, and learning how they've become and how they were able to maintain their success moving forward. And you know, and it's just something that I hope that we can do here, you know, and there are guys that, you know, and there's men and women over there that I still work with, and they help us, and you know, and that's all we want to do. You know, at the end of the day, I remember when we first started, we said, as long as we can just, like, you know, help one family not have to go through what we went through, that was great then. But now it's like my number is a lot higher than one, because I know we can, you know, and you see these different, like, organizations that help, and Denise does, like, an amazing job connecting with them, you know, even with, like, the Block Gives Back and stuff, and, you know, And it just is, and it's about us coming together, you know, the different foundations coming together and working together, and not, you know, and you got to individually look at the people that are doing this too, you know, because there's some foundations where they got the people that run those foundations, you know, they're doing it to stroke their ego, they're doing it for, for so they can say what they're doing, you know. I really believe, like, you know, there's none of that with us. You know, we're all doing it because, like, we honestly care. You know, we you know, those people down there that are out on Kensington and Allegheny today, you know, you know, everybody deserves, like, a life.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned that with my sister passing away, because, like, she was my best friend. She was a year and a half younger than me. I grew up with 5 siblings, and it was the 3 older ones. It was me and her. And, you know, and of course in the beginning I thought it should have been me, because I was a hardcore drug addict, you know, and I just learned that, you know, there's a reason why things happen. You know, there's a reason, you know, and somebody told me this, a guy with a lot of time clean and sober, you know, when he told it to me, and it really, like, meant a lot to me. You know, some people have to die in order for others to live, you know, and in this area in Philadelphia, like, I'm pretty sure we had the highest, like, you know, death rate due to overdoses than anywhere else in the country. You know, I can sit here and for about an hour and name off names of people that I've known personally that have passed away due to, you know, overdosing, you know, and you know, and it's all those people that I know that have passed away that were really good people that, you know, that keep me going, that make me understand, like, you know, their memory deserves to live on.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all we can do is, like, live on their memory, and we can try and help, you know, the younger people that are coming up and educate them on addiction, you know, and show them, hey man, even if you get lost, you know, we're here for you, and we can help guide you through this process, because it's scary. It's scary, you know, recovery's scary, getting clean is scary, you know, sitting out there getting loaded every day, people think it's hard. It's not. It's really easy. You know, the hard part is getting and staying clean.
Yeah. Well, I like that you guys are trying to change that stigma.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, you see somebody using or somebody on the street, and people, like you said, it becomes such a norm, especially here, that people just look at them and like, oh, this guy, you know, instead of seeing a person who actually is going through something that really needs help right now.
The one thing I think I learned the most is most are pretty amazing people. You know, when you sit down and have a conversation with, regardless of the state they're in that moment, they're generally really good-hearted people that are just stuck. You know, and I've said, I've made some connections down there that I still have them. They check in with me. They don't have to check in with me, but they check in with me because they know that I care, that they're okay. And, you know, you're not ready today, maybe tomorrow. But you let me know, because you call me and I'm going to be there. You know, and as far as we've made some amazing contacts. I've made some really good friends. Just kind of being in here, being myself and able to just talk about it and not hide it. And some of the women that are in the same boat as me, they're just awesome people. You know, we feed off of each other all the time. I mean, even within our own little organization, we have bad days. And you know what? We talk to each other, and there's no judgment within us. You know, so, you know, and we're all different age groups, and we're all different backgrounds, and we're all different, but at the end of the day, we all come together, and, you know, I feel free that I can text somebody and just be like, hey, I'm having a really bad day, or hey, listen, I need this, my kid did this, whatever.
You got a support system.
Yeah.
And people, especially, correct me if I'm wrong, struggling with addiction, want that support system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They have a need for.
Yeah. And I want to say that I do not have that addictive behavior to anything. So I struggled a little bit to understand it. But the one thing I did was I opened my mind. I opened my heart to understanding that I don't need to understand it. I just need to understand my part in it. So you do not have to have an addictive behavior in any way, shape, or form to be part of the solution, you know, because we just don't know. We don't know. You don't know who you know, could be your child, could be your grandchild, it could be your spouse. You just simply don't know. And you don't have to live alone and suffer and not have somebody to talk to, because we're always available. You know, we're on social media. Shoot us a message.